Hi, all, welcome back. Missed you. Well, where are we? We're in sort of a Chaz City mess right now. Why do you think young people are disorientated? Why do you think this is happening? Now, I want to discuss media today and the impact it has. It's kind of like the movie 1984. There's a reason I keep showing that movie. In 1984, there was an older guy who kind of knew what reality was, but he wasn't able to express that to anyone, and if he did, he'd get narked on and get his behaviour modified and return to where he was. So where are we now? We're in 2020. We've had approximately 20 years of media lying to us. Well, they've really been lying to us since 1969 when they said they landed on the moon and people believed it. So it shows you how long the deception's been going. That's 51 years. 51 years they had no technology to go to the moon, but they said they did it and they still can't get there. You know, Trump said he was going to Mars. What happened to that? You know, you got the rover on Devon Island, right? Now what I want to do is do question and answers. Okay, this is your question. Okay, I say that CNN is corrupt and show you, and you're from Australia or New Zealand and you go, that's not our media. Wrong. Your companies were bought out under the merge thing that happened in the 1980s or 1990, I'm not sure. The companies merged, and media was one thing that was merged, and eventually the media was all bought out by USA. Okay, now some people, so therefore the media in USA owns Australia and New Zealand, and therefore CNN is a similar media to New Zealand and Australia, because you buy your news and they're your bosses. So you buy your news from America. Okay, now we need to understand that. Now why is this important? We also disbanded our journalists. Why did we do that? We didn't need them anymore and it was costing too much money, was the excuse, remember? And we go, hey, no, we need journalism. We need people finding out news for ourselves. Remember the big fight? And you'll go, no, it's fine. We can buy our news and it'll be fine. And they have real journalists over there. So, okay, now we go into Project Mockingbird. And you say to me, Project Mockingbird is a myth. Wrong. It's factual. Project Mockingbird, I can't tell you the year it was set up, was a long time ago. Project Mockingbird was set up for CIA to monitor media. It's found in Google, you can look it up, it's all there. They call it Operation Mockingbird or Project Mockingbird, depending on who you're talking to. Now, under Project Mockingbird, CIA had to monitor media. Initially, it was there just to make sure the Russians didn't interfere. And that was the reason for that. So over a period of time, Project Mockingbird has developed and got worse and worse as time's gone by and started dictating what media cannot say. And the monitoring of it even got so bad as to putting CIA agents into media. Well, of course they haven't put CIA agents into Australia or New Zealand because they don't need to, because we're buying our information from overseas. We're buying it from there. So we buy the brainwashing. Okay. So previously I said to you, why are young people brainwashed? They've been 20 years under this lying and going on. So they don't know reality anymore. When the media decided that Trump was a bad guy, except for Fox, Then they planted Fox as the Republicans in his fake news. So when you call the left fake, they call you fake, and ha 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 ha. Well, Fox is on the left. They are allowed to debate Trump. The powers to be allow this to happen. So otherwise we would be suspicious. They're not stupid. So we have to have the Trump topic is allowed to be debated, left and right. We're allowed to debate that. Media is allowed to have a true opinion of it. And some choose to lie to us, and some choose to tell us the truth. It depends on the topic, certain topics. Wars, Syria war. We know that CIA worked with ISIL, or ISIS, and they changed the names because they didn't want us to know who was funding them, and it was the Democrat Party funding them. Hillary Clinton funding them, CIA funding them, money pouring in. So, there was theatre of creating chemical weapons against Assad because they wanted Assad out. They wanted world order. They can't have world order, United Nations, if these Arab countries think that God is so powerful. And so how did they rebuild Iraq? Does anyone know? They used their own corporations. They used their own companies, McDonald's, whatever. They didn't use Iraqi. They rebuilt it with their own companies. So those companies get richer. So when they rebuild, they don't rebuild and make that country strong again. They have no intention of that. The people that are in on it are the corporations are into this world order. When you do a war, they benefit from it because then they can build there. Previously, before, they were Iraqi businesses. Now they can put McDonald's, Facebook, YouTube, social platforms in there too. Change media, change the way people think. So, okay, what's your next question? We've got Project Mockingbird. Australian news is better. Australians aren't that stupid. We don't have Trump. Well, you're left. You're all left, whether you like it or not. If you're going to vote right, you're going to vote left. You've had that media brainwashing you for a long time. So when you talk about real issues in your own countries like racism, and it's going to be about some guy defacing a sign, and not the real issues of the migration officers who are getting money under the table, skimming. You're not going to know about that, are you? So these immigration officers are going to get away with it for a period of time. Then they take your jobs. And then so you're competing now with people on... so you got people in cosy jobs who think that immigrants should be there. And immigrants should be there, but they should be assimilating into the culture, being one with us. If they're not assimilating, it's bad news. If they're going to only employ their own kind, then that's not assimilating. So, that's pretty much it in a nutshell, really. You've argued, you said, well, Marxism wasn't around. Marxism was around 30 years ago. Then you say, well, our education hasn't been brainwashed. Well, it has. You're wrong. When a professor gets out there, it doesn't matter what subject it is, psychology, politics, economics, they get out there and they give you their ideas. So if you suddenly decide, well, stuff you, I'm going to give you a completely different plan, you also have to source your ideas. There's no way you're allowed to have your own idea. But the only ideas are out there are only the ones that are professor. So, the books and everything, history has been rewritten. You got statues being removed right now, removing history. We live in a lie, deception. I mean, as I told you before, Mars have never been there, have they? They didn't go to the moon. And then they had Tesla car and Elon thing, and Elon's a smart guy. I have respect for him. He says we live in a simulation. They said, Elon, he'll look after us, he'll create this better future. Well, wrong again. When Elon launched into space, they removed him from his own buildings. He was outside, right? He was outside watching the launch. Didn't watch it from in the building. Deception goes on, and rockets, they don't fly straight, they always bend. So when Korea, when they said, well, they're reaching further now, they had middle-sized missiles, middle-sized rockets that go further, right? It's the same as fireworks. If you want to go further, you get a bigger firework, so it goes further. That's pretty much it in a nutshell, really. I just hope I got through to you on this one. So media has brainwashed our youth, has brainwashed them for a period of 20 years. Our young people have been lied to. And this is why this Black Lives Matter movement is going on. When they see an older guy, they just see the blah blah. They see them as Trump, but they don't see the deception. Project, now you're talking conspiracies, Project Mockingbird. It's all factual. So there is definitely a divide between the young and the old, because the old still remember what the real media was, but the young don't. It's like 1984, and the young are leading the way. They're making safe areas for blacks and segregating them back to where we were in the 1960s. And they're doing that in Chaz City because they're brainwashed. They're brainwashed that we're not looking after them, that they're not real Americans. I would have thought that if you're in America, you're a friggin' American and you're friggin' happy. It wouldn't matter what nationality you were. You're an American and you're proud of it. You've got so much pride. But these lefties, they don't understand that their reality is all warped. Their gender, the gender thing. They hate Christians. They hate Christianity. Nobody's genderophobic. You just, because we're voting Trump and he's representing freedoms, representing us being not microchipped. He's fighting World Health Organization that's bringing up fake vaccines and 0.3 deaths comes down to reality. And we say, well, that's false. So it's not false. Wrong again. They lied. Get Fed funding in New York. Someone has COVID in them and they died of cancer, they'll call it COVID death. And then in some cases they didn't even really care if the person died of flu and they were elderly, they just put it down as COVID. And that's part of the problem. Everything's a deception now. Media's a deception. We got the young and they're going to riot. They're going to think that we're old fogies, we're all Nazis, we're all racists. I mean, the other day someone said to me, they tried to trick me and young person it was, thinking that I was a racist. Like, no, everyone's got Māori in their family. They're just a New Zealander at the end of the day, everyone's the same. And this is the thing with young people. They just see an older person and immediately think racist because you're white and older. So we need to educate you. You're the one brainwashed and you're trying to educate us. And we're trying to say it's different. See the divide? But you're never coming around because your gender, your sins. Thing about God, and I'm not the best Christian in the world. In fact, I'm no good at this. But, God is there and God has a purpose for all humans. No matter your sin, you can turn to Him, turn to Jesus. You don't have to have someone in your life. You can live alone. It is hard. You're not meant to enjoy this world. You're not meant to enjoy anything in it. But at the end of the day, when you get to my age, things are boring. Everything's boring. Games are boring. Everything. Everything you do is boring. Anyway, thank you guys.